Welcome back inside the Simplified Technology Solutions Intermissions Report. First period of action in the books between the Austin Bruins and Chippewa Steel here in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. But before we go any further and give you the recap of that first 20 minutes of action, let's go ahead and listen back to a conversation that I had earlier in the week with Bruins defenseman Camden Gallagher. Hey, Camden, thanks again for taking the time to jump on here and do this interview with us. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Good to be here.
So I want to talk to you. I mean, obviously, you're a second-year Austin Bruins guy. You're one of the veterans on the defensive unit for the Bruins. How different is this year, albeit COVID, and just the fact that it's year number 2 for you in this Austin Bruins system? How different of a year is it here, year number 2 versus last year?
Way different, that's for sure. I mean, coming from being new here last year to having, we had a lot of veterans last year. So coming in, it's like a big role to take in this year. You got to step in some big shoes. We got like Joe, Mishak, Jed Pietla, those guys left us. So, we kind of had to come in and take a big step in our game. And really, it's been different. I mean, COVID for sure it's shown that we've had to step up even more because, guys are struggling with not being able to play or, all these quarantine mask rules. It's just not everyone's having a normal season. So it's definitely been a different year for sure.
It's just been weird all around.
Yeah.
This is your third year in juniors. You started out playing in juniors in the Alberta Junior Hockey League with Lloydminster. How different is something like the AJ compared to the NAHL being up in Canada? Like, how different is that? Are there even any differences?
I'd say there's a big difference for sure. One being the AJHL has the opportunity for players that have played major junior to play in that league. So, for example, where I played in Lloyd, it was pretty close to, it was on the border of Saskatchewan and Alberta, and there was quite a bit of WHL teams surrounding them. And the AJ is very popular for a lot of guys that played in the WHL for 2-3 years, and it's their last year of junior, and they kind of just want to, have fun, get points. So they go to the AJHL, and they've played 3 years of major junior, and then they go into a junior league where there's younger kids, and then they just light it up. So a lot of people don't know that. They think that, the AJHL doesn't have as much commitments as the other leagues. And for example, that's probably why, because these guys that played major junior, they can't commit. So me as a rookie going into there, it was a big step because there was these huge, big guys that would fight, and they'd played major junior for many years. And I mean, it was awesome. I had a great time, but I think definitely coming to Austin has made me have to step up even more, because coming down here, the skill, it's just more about skill. And then coming into this league, it also has grit, so it's definitely, they're two big different leagues, but they're both really great leagues.
Was that a hard adjustment for you, getting used to the Canadian way? Was there a lot of things that you had to get? You're from Boise, Idaho, so you're obviously an American. Was that tough for you, like learning kind of the way things go in Canada?
No, because I played midget for 3 years in the CSSHL, which is called the Canadian Sports School Hockey League. So in Northern Idaho, there's a hockey prep school called Coeur d'Alene Hockey Academy. And I went there when I was 15, and it was on the border, it's on the very top of Idaho. So it's pretty much on the border of British Columbia. And we were the only American team in the Canadian League. So since I've been 15 years old, I've been traveling up in Canada, playing all around British Columbia, playing in Alberta. So playing in the AJ was kind of one of my, I thought about playing there when I was in midget, because I've talked to those teams when I was traveling as a midget, and then I never really thought about playing in the American League because I was, playing in the Canadian League. I was just so exposed to those leagues instead of the North American League. So it wasn't as big of a difference for me, but still moving that far away from home, and it was a really cool experience. Yeah.
So after your time then in Canada, when you finish up with the Lloydminster Bobcats, what was the deciding factor that made you come to Austin? Were you recruited? Were you scouted? Did you just want to get back to the U.S.? How did that happen? How did you land in Austin?
So after that year in Alberta, I ended up getting traded in the summer, like late in the summer, to a team in Saskatchewan. And the Saskatchewan league that's a very, very tough league. And me, like, I played a full year in the AJ, and then I got traded to the SJ. And it's a very, very tough league to play in and a very, very tough league to get out of, because there's not a whole lot of commitments coming out of the SJ. And it's, due to the placement of it, a lot of scouts don't want to travel all the way to, some of those Flin Flon. I don't know if you know much about Saskatchewan, but there are some places that are in the middle of nowhere. So for their location, they don't get as much scouting. So I personally was not looking to go play there. And I remember Connor Mylymok. We've been best friends since we were in kindergarten. So, we were talking when I was playing in Lloyd, and he was here. He was in Austin his first year, and we were just kind of talking the whole year. And then that summer came, and he was like, "Hey, like, what would you think about playing in Austin?" And I was like, "Oh, are you kidding? Like, what?" And then he was like, "Yeah, my coach was talking to me about you, and he was asking me about you because he knew that we knew each other. And he was just like, yeah, he's looking for a big right-handed defenseman. Like, would you be interested?" And I was like, yeah, like, of course I would be. And, just the opportunity of being to play there and the opportunity of being play with Connor, because, we grew up together in Boise. We played hockey since we were 5-6 years old. So he gave me that opportunity. And then Steve called me and he said, "Hey, we're going to draft you to our team." And I remember what he said. He was like, because I was talking to some other team and also about getting drafted, and he was like, "Hey, we're picking you up, so you don't have to fight Millie anymore. You don't have to worry about fighting Millie," because he thought I was going to get picked up by some other team. So he picked me up, and then I was like, sweet. And then next thing you know, Connor and I were living with each other last year at Karen's house. So it was awesome. We got to live together. Our parents loved it, and so it was a pretty good spot to land in.
So you did get scouted, just not by a scout or an assistant coach, by Connor Mylymok, basically.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. I think there was this. I don't know the guy. He took me to the airport once, but he worked with the Bruins last year, and he was like, you might know him, but he was like, he just looked over videos and like scouted players for the Bruins.
Oh, Aaron Vanaski, our head scout.
Okay, that's probably him.
Yep.
But I talked to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I watched you play in Lloyd. He watched my film and stuff." But I'm pretty sure the relationship might have been built off of, Connor is the big part, because he was like, "Hey, I have a guy that I know who's looking for a place to play," and then I think it just kind of all fell together.
It worked. You happen to be a big-bodied right-handed defenseman, and that's what the Bruins were looking for at the time. And obviously, things kind of worked out. Here you are in your second year with the Bruins. What are some of the goals that you have this season? I know there's probably one big goal that we could all probably guess, but what are some of those goals that you have?
Well, obviously the big one, commitment. But personally, I think that this team can have a ride at the playoffs. So, I don't really think about any individual goals other than, committing, but I don't really want to worry about that right now. I kind of want to take it just one game at a time, because if we find our role, or if we find our, I don't know what the word is, but if we start going here and start pushing, we just had 2 very close games with the best team in the league. And if that doesn't show, the people out there watching that we can have a run at this thing, then I don't know. I don't know what to say, because I think that our goal should all be to secure a playoff spot, and then after that is win that playoff spot. So that would be a great goal to achieve, because right now, I'm not going to jinx it. I don't want to, but we are in a playoff spot, but it's not good enough, So we need to start winning games. We need to put some wins together, go on a win streak maybe, and then that would be a great goal, is to finish second, third in our division, and then go from there.
Well, that sounds like some pretty darn good goals, and we're going to likely have you on again as we make our way through the roster, because we're going to kind of go top to bottom, and we'll have you on again. And hopefully next time we talk, Camden, we're talking about your recent commitment and maybe the Bruins being, first place, second place in the NAHL Central Division. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be an awesome goal to achieve right there.
Well, thanks again for your time, and good luck out there for the rest of the season, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, TJ.
That was Bruins defenseman Camden Gallagher. We got plenty more coming up on the Simplified Technology Solutions Intermissions Report. Stay tuned.